Hello, my absolutely beautiful Libra friends, and welcome to your horoscope for June of 2022. We're Libra this month. Very nice. We've got Mercury coming out of retrograde. We've got your ruling planet moving into the energy of Gemini, which means things are going to pick up. They're going to get busy, and it's like, Libra, where are you? Let's see you out on the public stage. Let's see you expanding. So a great omen for you coming out and expanding your horizons, and I absolutely love that for you. We've got a complication in one of our moons. We'll talk about that. And we've got both Saturn and Neptune stepping into retrograde this month, which in one sense is actually very good because it's almost like it gives society and the outer world a rest, and you're able to find the space you would like to fill while that is resting. And as Saturn and Neptune both wake up, then you can integrate even in the world and the communities around you. I really love that energy for you. Now, Libra, before we jump in here, please make sure you are checking out the community tab of this channel so that you know which classes are coming up next for the YouTube Academy. Now, we are starting out with Melissa LaFara's class, Dignities and Debilities, and then we will be doing the live Q&A with her as well. And then I'll be your next teacher talking about how to get your chart and the chart anatomy. So make sure you're watching the community tab so you're on track with where the Academy is going, what's happening when we're meeting live, okay? All right, Libra, let's get in here and talk about what's going on this month. Now, right at the beginning of the month on the 3rd, we're going to see Mercury coming out of retrograde in the energy of Taurus. Now, this lights up your 8th house space. And the thing I really want to point out about this Mercury Direct is that it's not new. You may have new perspectives, new information, a new attitude on what is going on in your 8th house, but the conditions and the situation is not new. We've been looking at 26 degrees of Taurus to 4 degrees of Gemini since April, and we will be looking at that until June 18th. So what does that mean? Well, as Mercury comes out of retrograde, now the clarity that you have in this 8th house about debt, intimacy, sex, reproductive organs, taxes, inheritance, joint resources, things in your partnerships, things that are interdependent, not codependent. That includes sponsorships, collaborations, astrology, how that fits in your world, all of these things. Now, maybe you have more information and you're prepared to make decisions about it, but it's not new. So I want you to keep that in your mind's eye, okay? On the 4th, we're going to see Saturn stepping into its retrograde at 25 degrees of Aquarius. Now, we'll see Saturn stepping out of its retrograde October 22nd at 18 degrees of Aquarius. So again, you're watching 25 to 18 degrees of Aquarius of your chart to see where this Saturn retrograde is pointing your attention to. Now, this is going to light up your 5th house space. So when it comes to conception of ideas, children, romance and love and pleasure, right? Your self-expression. These kinds of things are what is on your table. So what is Saturn showing you that you need to tighten up in this particular area, Libra? Where do you need to bring it, hone it in a little bit? You've been feeling limited, but Saturn is going to show you how to take the corrective actions. And if you have mastery in this area, it's almost as if Saturn shows up being like, yes, deliver that mastery. Share that, express that, which is really interesting since we'll see later in the month you being asked to come out on a more public stage, right? So take advantage of this retrograde time. On the 13th, we see Mercury moving into the energy of Gemini. So great, it's moving forward. We've got it out of that Taurus space, and now we're into the Gemini energy, but it's not out of post-retrograde shadow time just yet. But now where the focus is going to be is from that 8th house into the 9th house. Now, what decisions, conversations, material, content, are you learning a language that's a foreign language that's going to help you expand out, expand into further dimensions, travel larger, farther, wider, faster? Legal things, things having to do with immigration, education, training, What kind of decisions and information are you gathering at this time that Mercury in Gemini is really going to support you in making those decisions? On the 14th, we're going to have a full moon at 23 degrees of Sagittarius. Now, the full moon asks us to end something, acknowledge something, or make an adjustment, okay? So in the energy of Sagittarius, it's in your third house. This is about your thinking, right? What have you been thinking about for a while? And it has been a principle, it has been a philosophy, it's maybe been a belief, even maybe one of faith. It's been, are there writings? This is very practical. Is there a writing that you've been working on and you've just been holding on to it for a bit too long, and now it's time for it to take its next course or its next evolution? But I also just think in terms of Sagittarius can get quite righteous, right? In that search for the truth. We can become quite righteous in what we think. And this full moon is squaring Neptune in the energy of Pisces. So it's telling me in something in your day-to-day routine, Libra, it's not the truth. Something about it is misinformed, and that's why you're having such a struggle in your thinking. Something in your daily routine, something in your health doesn't make sense, and so you are contending with it. There is a complication, there is a dishonesty that needs to be rerouted or brought to a different reality. And I think that this really comes to your attention with this particular moon, and it is really this tender space between logic, which we were built with strong logic. We're made that way. Logic is good stuff. We love it, right? But logic is only going to take you so far. So where's the other part of your belief structure in even day-to-day routines where you're tapping into the flow of a vibration that you can't see, but you do know is there? And some people call this faith. Some people call this trust. Some of the people call this divine guidance, working with your guides. Whatever it is, where are you having a problem, Libra? Or where do you need to amplify, maybe tapping into that so that it's not this battle between my thinking, my head and my heart, okay? All right, as we get to the 21st, we see the sun entering into the energy of Cancer, tip top of your chart, bringing light, heat, life, and vitality. Now, this is about what are you building in your career, or what are you building in your title? Because remember, the 10th house is not just the career or the work that you're doing, but it's the title that we know you as in public. Were you single and now you're married? You had no children and now you're a parent. You had a whole bunch of children and now they've all flown the coop, right? Like, what's the title we also know you at in public? With the sun here, you are motivated to nurture and to take care of this very public reputation area of your life. What brings you security? What makes you feel safe? What makes you feel loved and nurtured? And what do you need to begin, because Cancer is a cardinal energy, to have this area be very, very full? Now, for some of you, straight up, very practically, it could be that you are really starting some work from home, career type things, or you're making an adjustment to work from home in some way, shape, or form. On the 22nd, Venus moves into the energy of Gemini. This is lovely because it lights up your 9th house space, publishing, marketing, broadcasting, expanding those horizons, coming out, traveling, speaking that language that you've been learning. Again, legal things, immigration, laws, anything like that comes in here. But ultimately, as Venus is asking Libra to come out and put yourself out there on this stage, it's also doing it in a Venus style. So it's very attractive. What you're putting out has benefit and is attractive to other people. What you're speaking, what you're saying, how you're saying it, maybe even is attractive. And who is it attractive to? Your tribe of people. That is the thing to remember. Venus in Gemini does not mean everybody loves Libra. It absolutely does not mean that. It means your tribe is going to hear with sacred ears what it is that you are sharing, who needs to see that document you just signed in order to move it forward. This is very much so a helper energy to that, okay? On the 22nd, on the 28th, we've got two things happening. One, we're going to see Neptune stepping into its retrograde at 25 degrees of Pisces. Now, we're going to see Neptune in retrograde all the way until December, and it will end its full cycle, so post-retrograde shadow, 2023. So we're not going to see that until March of 2023, okay? But we're going to have this Neptune retrograde here in Pisces, so again in your 6th house. Now, when Neptune goes retrograde, we are really left with reality. It's like, nope, no delusions, right? No daydreamingness. This is the reality of what's going on. Your ideals are one thing, and that's great, but the reality of how you're living or how this area of your life is going, we got to get these in alignment, right? Because one is a vision, one is a fantasy, one is held very highly, and one is the reality. So when Neptune is retrograde, it is a time to rediscover what's really going on with your actions, your attitudes, how you're moving, how you're grooving. It can be really disappointing to find out we're not the illusion we have built up around ourselves. And instead, for me to be that person that lives with integrity, I got to adjust these actions over here, or for me to have this life. And sometimes where I think it's very useful is it kind of blocks out the noise a little bit. You know what? I don't want to hustle. I don't want to work on me anymore. I'm a mess. And I'm done being stressed about it. Sometimes it is just really great for blocking out all the extra so you can just focus in your lane. So whatever this looks like for you, especially in the 6th house, day-to-day routines, your health and your wellness, how you care and are of service to other people, work projects, this is where your attention will be brought. Now, in addition to that, we're going to have a new moon in Cancer at 7 degrees, okay? Now, this moon is in a tough conversation with Jupiter. So I have to tell you, first of all, the new moon is here to help us plant our seeds of intention, okay, in your career life, in your public life, in your title that we know you as. What do you want to be known as? What do you want to nurture onto a very public stage for yourself? Where would you like to create security? Now, because this moon is square Jupiter in Aries, also a cardinal energy, I will tell you, if you have an idea around about this time in your career where you're like, F it, I'm going to go big, or I'm going to go home, or I'm going to sell this package, even though I really don't know how I'll deliver it, I would absolutely caution you against that. Because that is walking your hiney into a sling that you can't deliver. And the absolute lack of Neptune direct can have you really getting your feelings hurt behind that. Instead, make abundant space. Create ample and abundant space for yourself around your career, around this title that you want to have in the world that says, I'm creating a receptive place for my gifts, my rewards, all of the seeds that I've planted to sow and to be dropped right into this space, and then I will dish them out as need be. So that is a much better use of that particular energy. But in the end, you do you, my beautiful friends, right? All right, Libra, lots going on this month. Keep your head where your hands are. This is the best place to bring it back to now and stay out of so much of the overwhelm. There is a great deal of energy that feels like, yes, I'm on this new adventure, but how come I'm not there yet? And it's just because it's not time just yet, but there's plenty of work to be done right where you're at. All right, beautiful Libras, like this video, comment, share, subscribe. I love you a ton, and I look forward to seeing you next month. Bye, Libra.